Good evening, friends, and welcome to the Tuesday night nonfiction post-apocalyptic book club. So happy to see you all, and welcome. And to those of you who are watching the replay, welcome to you as well. We are working on Food Storage for Preppers by David Nash, and this is a week-for-week plan for surviving the apocalypse. We're doing it 4 weeks at a time because we're trying to get things sped up. We don't think we have a full year before SHTF. So we're going to do 4 weeks at a time each time. We are now in week 8, I believe. So that's where we'll be. Let me walk through greeting all the people who are here on the live, and we have a whole bunch of great ones. I want to take a little bit of admin time as well right after that, and then we'll actually get into the book, because this is discussing one of my favorite topics tonight. And so I'm so happy we're talking about it, because I finally found one solution, not the solution, but one. And but tonight we do have a good solution for my biggest thing is I don't know if I can last too long without bacon. So we'll be talking about that this evening. So, okay, Pat Butler, welcome. Gil, Gray Man Prepping, welcome. Aussie Life, Maggie, welcome to you as well. Butch Graves, Pat Butler, let me see who else. Diana too, welcome. Good to see you. Anybody? Little Lone Prepper, Muskoka Oma, and that looks like it. And Holly Ivans. Where was I today? I was somewhere, and Holly Ivans and I were on the same one this earlier today. Barrett Foley, good evening. How are you, sir? So good to see you as well. Okay, a piece of admin. When we have open forums like this one, there are all kinds of people who come. We have creators like me. And some of you have fantastic channels. Gray Man Prepping, for example, Gil, just a great channel. And I was a little bit emotional last night, so I didn't go onto his channel right afterwards. I was actually engaged in discussion with the person who fostered this conversation that we're going to have this evening. And I was also in contact over the phone with one of the moderators. And so I think I've come up with a way where we can respectfully help people along who don't want to cooperate. So we have creators. Gil, me, a couple others of you are creators. Okay, Holly Ivers, we were on Hill Summit Homestead with Jack from Australia, and I had to leave because I say regular prayers. At 2 o'clock every day, I say the Chaplet of the Divine Mercy, and then at 4 o'clock every day, I do the Rosary. And I had to leave his because at 4 o'clock Rosary time came. Anyhow, where was I? Oh, then there are participants, active, valuable participants like you are, and the way that you share and everything is just unbelievable, and the way that you come together and share ideas, and the way you treat each other is just phenomenal. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Then we have trolls, and a troll, in my definition of a troll, is somebody who interferes with the normal conveyance of ideas on a channel. And unfortunately, we've had a troll for a couple times here, who has been disrupting the conversation. The presence of a troll has a tendency to stifle the conversation of the regular viewers, the regular participants as well. So one of our moderators put this troll in timeout, and this has happened a couple times. And hello, Theoxerus, welcome, good to see you. And so there was consternation on the part of this person, and very upset that we had put them timeout, claiming that I had deprived him of his First Amendment rights. And we were talking specifically about the Constitution last night, and the person doesn't understand that the First Amendment has nothing to do with social media or anything else. It has to do with the government stifling your right to speak up against the government. And so since he's not speaking up against the government, and I'm not establishing a law that's going to put him in jail, Therefore, the First Amendment does not apply. So he got a little bit belligerent and a little bit threatening in his comments, and I deleted those from the live from last night. Originally, I gave him, I was going to say, please voluntarily withdraw these, and you have until noon Wednesday. Noon Tuesday. I don't know. Anyhow, to voluntarily withdraw them, and if not, then then I will delete them. And that did not happen, and there were more threats came across. And so he says, "Oh, by the way, haven't you noticed that I'm on a whole bunch of channels as a participant as you are, and people there have no problems with me being the way I am, and it's only you that's being restrictive. Everybody else appreciates my comments." So here's how I think we're going to handle that. Since he believes that you all are supportive of him, and then it's only me. Before we take any actions on a banning or on a timeout or anything like that, the person who is the moderator who's about ready to put the person in timeout or in banning, we're not going to worry about the person who's being considered. We're going to worry about the rest of you. So I would ask that the moderator who is considering putting somebody in timeout or putting somebody, who's that just asked that question? F here. No, the moderator's name will appear in blue on your screen, and it will also have a wrench. So these are people who have been watching for quite a while, and I trust and I know them. And so I trust their judgment in helping to control the discussion so that we keep, and Pat Butler, I need to make a moderator. But anyhow, and Utah Mike. So anyhow, so what I'm going to ask is that the moderator who's considering taking that action, just ask the rest of you. I am considering, what do you think? And then we'll just take a vote. And so if the majority of you say, put the person in timeout or put the person or ban the person, then that's what we'll do. I'm going to allow those of you who have an active participation, because really this channel is for you, by you, and with you. And so you are the ones who will have the greatest effect. So if he doesn't bother you, tell people he doesn't bother me. That's okay. Let him go. For those of you who want to whatever, just let your feelings be known. And I think that way we can take the action that is appropriate, that the majority of you believe. I am going to ask, however, that whenever we do this, please, and I know you do it with each other, and I greatly appreciate it. Please be kind, polite, and respectful to each other. Also be kind, polite, and respectful to the person who we're considering doing whatever we're going to do to that person. So with that, I'm going to basically lay the suggestion that it's in your hands and that you have the control with the moderators, and that you agree on what's going to happen to that person, and that there be support, and that there be basically a vote among those people who are active on the channel at the time as to whether they're being bothered or not. And that should help to resolve the problem. Hopefully, we won't have anything else, but that's the way it is. So let me catch up with the chat up here, and then we'll get into this fantastic book. Once again, I did order a new one, so I'm very seriously, and I'm liking it so far. This guy's out of Britain, so I'm thinking about this will be the book that we will use to as the follow-on to the one that we're currently doing. And oh, by the way, I did have an email exchange with our Franklin Horton. Let me read you that email because he wasn't able to make it Thursday night. He's out of town, and but anyhow, I did want to share with you what I told him, and his response was fantastic. I hope you find the next one just as engaging. So I said, Franklin, absolutely a 5-star book. The mental stress, vengeance, greed, duplicity are exactly what I think will be happening in a post-SHTF environment. Great job on the tough love via Randy to Charlotte. We had a great discussion on the live about range cards, and someone even suggested putting surveyor's tape out on poles for windage adjustment due to crosswinds. Can't wait for the next one. Thanks again, Lee. So basically, that was my discussion with him, and he was very happy with that. So he probably will join us in a future one. Remember that our book that we're reading for this month in the fiction book club. Oh gosh, where is it? Probably up here. I've got so many books going on around here. It's pitiful. Is Infiltrated by John Grammer. Great book. A lot. I've got you can see my 5x8 card is getting pretty much filled up, and I'm only halfway through the book. But he's got a lot of great prepping tips in there that I think that you all will find very intriguing. So Maggie says that you're here because of the teaching and wisdom you provide. But you know what? There's just as much teaching and wisdom among you as well, Maggie. And you're a great contributor. Thank you so much for that. You, Utah Mike, Theoxorus, Muskoka Oma, Diana too. I mean, all of you, I can't mention all of you, but all of you give such great interpretation. You add value, you add suggestions, you add ideas. You take what I introduce as a basic topic and enhance on it and build on it. We have a phenomenal community, and thank you so much for being that. Holly Ivans and Sue Me, and gosh, there's so many of you. It's us together that are doing this, because remember, we're in this together so we can come out the other side together. Well, we're together collectively learning. I'm introducing ideas and starting the conversation in the chat. You guys are doing a phenomenal job of correcting at times and enhancing quite often. So thank you so much for that. But this is our thing. I just am privileged enough to kind of lead the discussion. So thank you very much for that kind comment. I pointed that out to him in our discussions last night, Theoxorus, and I said, one of the things that you should do is when you wear being banned as a badge of honor, and then complain about possibly being banned again, you need to take a look at yourself rather than complaining about others. Thank you, Gil. That's a great suggestion. And Cats and Prepping, there's another great person who contributes an awful lot. Thank you for that. Let's get here. So Maggie says, now I have to order it. You always recommend the most fantastic reads. Well, thank you. Yeah, Franklin Horton is just phenomenal. I love him. The same as I do Steve Smith, and he should have a new one coming out here very shortly, the Stomont series. And then Chris Weatherman, who is a American, and his survival series takes place down in Florida around Maggie. And he also has a weekly, so all these guys have their weekly talks or daily talks. Steve Smith quite often comes out with at least one a day. But no, these guys have some great channels that you can follow as well. So just great authors. I wish that I could get William Forstchen on. I consider him the granddad of all these great books with his trilogy, 1 Second After, 1 Day After, 1 Year After. I think they are what really got this genre of books catapulted into the area of successful reading that we are seeing. Thank you, F. Peer. I appreciate that comment about more thumbs ups. I greatly appreciate that. So Aussie Life, Maggie says, when 2 or more gather in my name, there I will be. I do look forward to this community as it is a huge break from the worldly events, a regrouping, a rethinking, a mutually supportive environment. So thank you very much for that, Maggie. Well, thank you, Holly. That's a very kind thing of you to say. I greatly appreciate that. Okay, So let's get into this book and where we are. So what we should have acquired, I have a friend down in Houston, and he and I were talking on the phone, and gosh, I've known him for years. And he said that he and his wife have their bug out bags put together and all this other kind of stuff. He says, but we don't have anywhere to go. And he knows where I live. And I said, call me tomorrow and we'll talk about it, because I had a late night this was Sunday night, because I was at church. We did the Christmas vigil, and we were at church until 11:30 Saturday night. And then Helen agreed that she would, and Helen is a Methodist. And so she agreed that she would go to 9:30 Mass with me if I went to Mass for Easter. So I got up, very difficult waking up at my age after getting home and finally getting to sleep, probably about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. And she said she would go to 9:30 Mass with me if I would take her. And I said yes. And so we went to 9:30 Mass. And then so I decided I wanted to go to bed early. And of course, my big thing, one of the very few television shows I like to watch is The Walking Dead, and their offshoots, and they come on at 8 o'clock. Well, he called me right at 8:15, so I ended up spending an hour on the phone with him and missed The Walking Dead, and I was dead tired. But I finally said, here's how it goes. Just give me a call tomorrow. We'll talk about it, and if nothing else, you can come up here. So I'm trying to write up an agreement. I want to let him know that if he comes up here, there are certain things that I'm going to expect him to do, and there are certain things I expect him to have, and it's based off of this book, believe it or not. So I'm kind of using the format of the food supplies here, and then making that a bring these with you when you come type of a deal. So I'm using this book in real world right now, as far as a friend who might be coming up here when all SHTF happens. So did Triple G join us? WD Rock and Roll, welcome. Great to see you. Is Triple G here? I didn't see him. Well, if Triple G is here, welcome, and so good to see you. Okay, so week 8. Let's get into the food first. So week 8, let me get my glasses. There we go. So for this week, we should have purchased 5 pounds of peanut butter, 50 pounds of wheat or flour. Right now, I'm concentrating on cornmeal. I have plenty of flour. I have plenty of bread mixes and all these other kinds of things, Bisquick and everything else. I found a box of Bisquick packed back in the back that I never vacuum sealed. And it's 1991. So I got to find out whether or not that is any good. How did it ever get back in the back of the pantry and not be vacuum sealed? I have no idea. But, that also counts as a wheat or as a flour type of thing. If you get Bisquick or something like that, you can also count pancake mix as a form of flour or wheat. Okay, so what we should have gotten, 5 pounds of peanut butter, 50 pounds of wheat, flour, bread mix, whatever, 7 boxes of macaroni and cheese. When you get your macaroni and cheese, I strongly recommend that you either get the ones where you have the tin or the foil package of kind of a soft, buttery cheese in it, because that is vacuum sealed and it will last a little bit longer than does the freeze dried, because it's not really freeze dried and it's not really hermetically sealed. And I have had some 4, 5, 6 years old before I started vacuum sealing everything that kind of turned brownish and weren't very appeasing. I didn't try to eat them. I didn't try to find out whether or not they were good or not, because I did some of my, who is that said that? I got it over here. I got some of my, this is in preparation for this week's Prepper Pantry haul on Saturday. So guess what? Ta-da! She is saying, get this, and that's what I got. So yeah, I like Crusties, and one of the main reasons I really like Crusties is because most of them are just add water. So thank you for mentioning that, Cats and Prepping. Okay, and then 10 pounds of powdered milk. And of course, the powdered milk that I have 2 favorites. I have 3 favorites. I really like the LDS, and it's from Desiree Farms. powdered milk that you get from the Provident Living Center. That's probably my number one. And then tied for second place is going to be either Nutrient Survivals powdered milk. Now that is vitamin enhanced, but it has a shorter shelf life. I think it only has like a 3 or 4 year shelf life. And then the other one, of course, is going to be Thrive Life. So those are my 3 favorite powdered milks. So that's what we should have gotten for this week. In preparation for next week, we want to get, this will be for week 9, you want to get 1 bottle of 500 aspirin, 5 cans of cream of chicken soup, 50 pounds of wheat, and 7 boxes of macaroni and cheese. So let me mark that off here, and that's going to be week 9. Okay. So for our next meeting, in anticipation of it, you're going to get 1 bottle of aspirin, at least 500 aspirin. You're going to get 5 cans of cream of chicken soup, 50 pounds of wheat, and 7 boxes of macaroni and cheese. Now, I will tell you, I am a strong advocate that we are going to be living in a world of soups, stews, and casseroles primarily in a post-apocalyptic world. So there are some soups that I strongly recommend you get, and pretty much in accordance with this as well. He supports it. I really recommend you get cream of chicken, cream of mushroom, tomato, onion soup, and chicken noodle soup. And if you can get those 5, I think you're going to be very happy that you can use those. Cream of chicken and cream of mushroom, you can put those together with a lot of other things for fantastic soup, stews, and even casseroles. Chicken pot pie. If you get canned chicken, you're going to use the cream of chicken. Just great stuff. Great stuff. So I strongly recommend those 5. Get extras if you can. Okay. Okay. Now then, let me see. Gosh, I don't see what I've highlighted, so that means that I'm way behind in the chat. Let me see how far behind I am in the chat. Wow, quite a bit. So looking forward to Gil's Live tonight. The PAN pre-packed cornmeal and sweet corn pancake mix are really, well, thank you. I'll have to take a look at that. PAN. So let me write that down real quick. I write down notes from the show in red, PAN. Okay. And then Maggie says that my older powdered items may have a stale taste, but much like freezer burn, but it isn't bad. But there are tricks to reduce the stale flavor. Okay. Maybe someday you'll share those tricks with us. Hello, Annie Luhu One. Welcome. Good to see you. Oh, wow. You're far ahead of me, Pat. I don't have any peanut butter powder. We do keep, I think it's 8 jars of Jif in rotation in the pantry. And so that's one of Helen's favorite snacks is she'll come in. We keep celery and peanut butter. And that's one of our favorite snacks is either celery and peanut butter or celery and pimento cheese. Or that's just something we really like to chew on. Right now, what I have for snacks is I have all these little bitty baby carrots and ranch dressing. That's another one of our favorites that we just snack on. I don't know if I'll be able to do that in a post-apocalyptic world. So we'll have to check and see. The first in, first out inventory management system, mine includes 1 can of asparagus. I will tell you that we have, they have pencil thin, what they call it, pickled asparagus. So I've probably got a half dozen jars of pickled asparagus in the pantry as well. And those we rotate those as well. But we really like the pencil thin pickled asparagus. And so you're right. That reminds me a lot of Germany. In Germany, they don't let the asparagus break through the ground. They keep it mounded so that it's always kind of like a root, and it stays very white. A lot of people call it white asparagus. We just call it Spargel, which is what the Germans call it. And it is so sweet and so great. Yes, and I yesterday was the first day that they have introduced a new product, and it's strawberries. So they have canned strawberries now available as of yesterday at the LDS Provident Living Center. So the one in Round Rock here is open Saturday mornings and Tuesday afternoons. And I was telling Helen earlier today, I said, I really want to go get some strawberries. And I was only going to get 2 cans, but she said, well, we need some eggs for what we're fixing for dinner this evening. Our eggs have gone bad. We eat eggs so seldom. And she says, and I'm not sure if I want to do liquid eggs because we want to do a quiche or also. And I said, well, I'll go get them. Then I started thinking about, gosh, I'm not going to drive over there just for 2 cans of strawberries. So I'm going to wait, and I'll probably go this weekend when I do my normal prepper pantry stuff on a Saturday morning. And I'll go and I'm going to do my inventory. I'm probably going to pick up something other than just 2 cans of strawberries. But anyhow, they do have strawberries now. So LDS is really good. Although they've discontinued some good products too. I really like they used to carry peanut butter. They used to carry honey. They used to carry number 10 cans of refried beans. Just add water, refried beans. What else have they discontinued that I really liked? They used to carry Seychelles water bottles and filters. They don't do that anymore either. Oh, well. Let me see here. Yes, you're absolutely right, Utah Mike. When you compare it to everything else, they are absolutely crazily inexpensive. Let me see. So Maggie says you can take powdered items, spread them out on a cookie sheet, lay them out in the sun or in the oven, toast them for just 5 to 8 minutes, and then okay. So this is like the cheese in the older macaroni and cheese that you're talking about. That you can kind of reconstitute it that way. Thank you so much for that tip. Golden Girl 84, welcome. Good to see you. And Butch just finished pickling 12 jars of asparagus. Well, great. Well, we're going to talk about canning here tonight a little bit. So that's going to be a good one. Yes, I get heavy whipping cream from Hoosier Hill, and I have one that's 5 years old, and it's turned brown. I don't know if it's still going to be good or not, but it has turned brown in that plastic jar. It doesn't have the greatest of seals. But I probably have about 5 of those in rotation. I get my sour cream from Thrive Life. I get my heavy cream from Hoosier Hill. So yes, Hoosier Hill. So how am I going to keep pimento cheese? It's one of my favorites as well. What I'm probably going to do is I ordered a little mixing machine. It's a hand crank with paddles on the inside so that I can make my own mayonnaise after SHTF. And so the way I do pimento cheese is I will mix a little bit of cheddar cheese and a little bit of pimento. And you can get jars of pimento, and those will last for a while. And then a little bit of mayonnaise, and mix those 3 together. You get kind of like a pimento cheese, and that's going to be my post-apocalyptic pimento cheese. So I ought to show you that little mixer that I bought. I was looking for the hand crank egg beater, that we used to have, because I figured I could use that to make the mayonnaise. But I found this little beater on Amazon, and it looks great. I haven't tried it yet, but I'll show that next week. I'll show it to you. Okay, so Golden Girl 84 says that she has freeze dried. Her daughter loves freeze dried strawberries. Okay, great. KP Heathen, welcome. Coming from Louisiana. That's a neighbor next doors. Let me see what else we are here. Okay, God, all kinds of great conversation. You guys are phenomenal. Oh, we got to read this one. F. Pierce says that we can make our own pimento spread in a crock pot. I make it with dehydrated cream, cheese, and pimento and spices. Yeah, that's what I was planning on doing. So looks like we're in kind of in agreement there. So thank you very much for that tip. Appreciate it. Okay. So honey turns a brown due to oxygen and moisture exposure. Hopefully you used a good honey. You can test honey by adding water and see what grows in a week. It should be good still. 100% honey is the only way to go. So that's my strong recommendation. Okay, so project number 29, smoked bacon. So remember, we have a couple ways that we can cure meats to store them for the long haul. So the first way is we can smoke meats, or also called curing. We can salt meats, and then we can dehydrate or freeze dry meats. And so those, and then we can also can, because we're going to get into canning bacon here just a little bit. So the first way, of course, is you can smoke it. And you can make a smokehouse, and basically what he does here is he goes through the entire process of how we can smoke, cure bacon. And his process takes a little bit over 48 hours. And I think that's going to be important. I tell you what, I get, on my little shopping list I showed you where I try to pick up, I alternate between the 4 things I try to pick up on every Saturday. One of them is bacon up grease. And I think it's about $8 at Walmart. But I try to get one of those a month, and have been doing that now for about 12 months. So I don't know at what point I'll have enough, but then I'll have to start rotating it and using it, because I think it only has about a 3 or 4 year shelf life. Okay, so the first thing we talk about doing here is smoking bacon, and that's going to be at somewhere between 150 to 200 degrees. We earlier talked about constructing a smoker in his projects in this book. So you can use the smoker that we talked about building earlier in this discussion of this book, and use that to cure your bacon. Now, another way is to just you can use an offset chimney grill, put your charcoal at one end, keep it kind of wet so that it's smoking, or you can put some chips, wood chips, in a bowl of water, so that basically you're causing that to create smoke, or very moist chips, I should say. And then you're going to hang your bacon off to the side, so that you're basically not catching as much of the heat from the charcoal as you are the smoke from the chips that are smoking. Okay. So number one project for tonight is to smoke bacon. Then the second way, and this is the one that I want to do. Somebody pointed it out a couple of weeks ago, that Alaska prepper Rudy had talked about this and had shown how he had done it. And so, between Rudy and this book, I think I've got enough confidence now to where I can do it as well. And that's pressure canning bacon. So the way that they talk about here in the book is almost exactly step for step the way that Rudy did it on his video, where he laid out parchment paper and cellophane wrap, laid the bacon out on it, rolled it up, put it inside the jar, and then pressure canned it. So all the instructions, the temperature, the time, and everything else are here in the book. I strongly recommend that. Then Project 31 is continuing on with long-term storage of beef, and it's going to be corned beef. And so it talks about taking a 5-pound brisket, salt, water, sugar, and then you can also use some flavorings, and he recommends garlic, pickling spices, carrot, medium onion, and celery stalk, I'm sorry. And how you can make corned beef. Now remember, salting and corning of meats was one of the primary ways that they stored meat for long sailing ventures in the Navy, especially in the Australian, so Aussie, in the British Navy. And then, of course, we brought that over into the U.S. Navy. Then, as a bonus project inside this corned beef, he has how it converted over to pastrami. So he gives the recipe for pastrami as well. And then the final project for this week, and I think you've seen it in my pantry hauls. I do 2 versions of this, red and white, and I'll explain the difference between the two. But Project 32 is sauerkraut. And so sauerkraut is the European version of kimchi, which is a famous food that they use a little bit. Kimchi is a little bit spicier. They use some red pepper flakes primarily in kimchi that they don't use in sauerkraut, but it's basically the same process of pickling cabbage. And so, of course, famous in Germany is the sauerkraut, and then in Korea, it's kimchi. So either one of those two is fantastic. That's going to be one of those great greens that you're going to have for salads and things like that available to you in a post-apocalyptic world. So one of the things that I do, finding cabbage is difficult. It's not as easy as what you would see. So I already have my delivery. Today is the 2nd. So there are certain things I get delivered on the 2nd of each month. For my prepper pantry haul. And one of those things that comes in every month, just 1 minute. Gosh, by the time we get done tonight, there's no need for a prepper pantry haul on Saturday. So one of the things that I get in every month is a jar of cabbage. And this is from Hoosier Hill Farms. Mother Earth Products. This is from Mother Earth Products. And I get this off of Amazon. So this is on the subscription program, and it comes in the 2nd of every month. And then every other month I get leeks and red onions. And so I kind of have it alternating where I get different products at different times. But cabbage is on a regular monthly thing. That's how important I think cabbage is to life. So I keep canned sauerkraut, and that's something that I will get quite often in my prepper pantry hauls. The other thing that I like is there are two versions of cabbage that are quite common in Germany. So of course you have the white or green cabbage. They call that Kraut, which is where we got the bad name for the Germans because they ate so much Kraut. That's a bad name that we gave them in World War I. Then they have a second one they call Kohl, Kohl, and so Rotkohl is red cabbage, and so you slice that up and fix it with sometimes they will use apples in it or onions and mix all that together and come up with another form of fermented cabbage, and it's called Rotkohl or red cabbage. And so we really like, as a matter of fact, Helen fixes that for me for my birthday every year. Is I get Spätzle Doppelbacht, which is twice cooked Spätzle, and Spätzle is German equivalent to macaroni and cheese. So it's an egg noodle, and then of course we after she makes the egg noodles, the Spätzle, she layers it in a casserole dish. So you have a layer of Spätzle, then you have a layer of onions, and then you have a layer of ham, then you have a layer of cheese, and then another layer of Spätzle, and so you layer that, and then you bake that as a casserole, and so that's one of my favorite things to eat. So I don't know if we could do that. Probably we could, if you take your macaroni and cheese and then get some of that diced ham, the little bitty cans of diced ham. I think it's a 5-ounce can. You can get it at most stores. I know you can get it at Walmart. It's where I get mine. And that along with some freeze-dried cheese, and you can get that from most suppliers. Thrive Life has 4 or 5 different flavors of cheese you can get from them. So you've got all the ingredients there. You've got basically macaroni and cheese. You've got the ham. You've got freeze-dried onions. You can make basically Spätzle Doppelbacht. So, that's and that's one of my favorite meals. So, I'm sorry for making you hungry. I am too. As a matter of fact, I brought some snacks. So I have some little Hershey's candies here. I don't know if I can do that though, because I slobber when I eat anymore. One of the bad things about getting old is you slobber quite a bit. Golly, I'm missing all kinds of good comments here. Let me see. So Golden Girl 84, you can just go online and go to Provident Living Food Storage and just do a search for that, and it'll say where is the closest store to me, and they're pretty I mean, when you go through the list, you have to go through Utah first, and Utah, Arizona, and Idaho. I think are the 3 most populous LDS states. And then after that, for example, the one we have, it's actually in Round Rock, but it's listed under Austin. And but you can find the one that serves you closest. And if not, as we have discussed here during the course of the evening, it's very easy, very inexpensive shipping costs to have a case of something shipped to you. So very, very affordable. So Utah Mike is going to use his DeWalt battery, the one, and charge battery drill and that is rechargeable with the solar system, and just put the egg beater in it. Great idea. I think that's and so for a lot of you, if you can get a small solar charger and a good battery operated drill, that's a great idea that might work for you as well. Yes, bacon is extremely important to me. I tell you what, one of my favorite things out in the field in the Army was when they brought us BLT, bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwiches. And that was really kind of a treat. You're right. I think the texture changes a little bit. As a matter of fact, I told you what I was going to order. I was going to order the small diced beef and the stripped and the sliced and spiced chicken with my standing order from Thrive Life every month. I changed that at the last minute. So instead of getting the small diced cube beef, small diced beef and the sliced chicken, I ended up ordering instead sausage, crumbled sausage, corn. I mean, this is a big switch. Corn, peas, tomatoes, and cinnamon spiced apples. And so we'll see. We'll see what I get. Yeah, I change it. I go through my inventory and say, well, what do I really need a whole bunch of? And then I kind of changed it because I also wanted to get in. I was looking at more fruits, but then I said, no, I'm going to change this because I'm going to get some strawberries from the LDS store. So let me tell you, as far as fruits, banana, no, they don't have bananas, apples, and now strawberries from LDS. It's just a phenomenal bargain. Theoxerus adds a great addition to the idea about the electric battery operated drill, and that's a paint stirrer. And yeah, that's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that as well. So Maggie says she's going to try Alaska Prepper's Way, and that's basically what's in the book here as far as this one project. And yes, I agree. And I'm kind of in old and in my ways, and I don't like new things. Of course, my wife's been after me. I've bought an extra one to install on the backyard, and I've had this now. The first one, so over the garage and the front door, I paid to have all that installed and hooked up and everything else. This is going to go for the corner over here at the gate to the backyard, and I don't like learning new things when it's 72. It's just too late to try to learn new things, and so I kind of intimidated by that. And I've had this now for maybe 6 weeks, and I've got a tab where it has the instructions on how to do it, and I feel intimidated. I haven't started doing it yet, so I haven't done it. Okay, let me see here. So Maggie says she truly loves sauerkraut, and so does Sue Me. So F. Pierce says, doesn't want to be without meat. They have a German family. Grandmother always made sauerkraut in a crock and still makes it that way. Yep. I wholeheartedly agree. Yeah. And so my name, if I were to share with you my name is German, and you would figure out then. As a matter of fact, I got in trouble when I was in Germany because when I was down in Augsburg, our family originates from Schwaben, Schwabia, which is has been incorporated into Bavaria. But anyhow, Schwaben was, when I was at Field Station Augsburg, and Augsburg was the capital of the German capital of, the Roman capital of Germania. So it was established in 15 BC as the Roman capital of Germania. And so when I was stationed at Field Station Augsburg, we had distant relatives who were in Horgau, Kreis Auerbach, which was only about 30 minutes from Augsburg, and they would come pick me up and take me out. But because of my security clearance and them still being German nationals, I got into a little bit of trouble because, with my security clearance, I wasn't supposed to have close continued association with foreign nationals. So, but that part of the family is still Catholic instead of Lutheran, and so it was great. But they took me to church and everything with them, so it was I really enjoyed it. And there's nothing like fresh German baked goods. I mean, and they would take me to the house, and there would be fresh baked goods like you would not believe it. Oh gosh, that was so unbelievable. Yeah, and along with that, here's another thing that I'm going to strongly recommend that you do. And that is, and Maggie brings up a good point, make sure you keep an ample supply of good probiotics that are going to help you because keeping your intestines clean, and sometimes you get some things that are less than clean in a post-apocalyptic world, I am quite certain. So one of the things we want to do is keep that digestive tract as clean as possible. And so maintaining good probiotics, good biotics in your body is going to be extremely important. So so far I've been storing the cabbage. I think one of my oldest jars is maybe 3 years old, and I haven't noticed anything. And these are, this is the same way that I have. This is the same packaging basically that the sour cream. I'm not the sour cream. The heavy whipping cream comes in, but when you unscrew this, it's got that. Metallic cardboard liner that you peel off. So, and a thin plastic jar. So this is not the best way to store something for long-term survival. So far, I haven't transferred anything. When I buy from, I forget which supplier it is, but one of the suppliers I buy from, I buy the first one in the jar, and it might be that it's Mother Earth. It might be Mother Earth. But typically what I'll do is the first one I buy in the jar. No, it's Hoosier Hill. First one I buy in the jar. Then after that, they have them in the metal packages that you can't see through. And so what I plan on doing is keeping the jar with the label on it and then taking the packages, opening them up as I need them and reconstituting or refilling the clear plastic one with that when I need to. So I think those are in the what are those bags called? Oh, the bags that we use, and then we put the oxygen absorber in it, and then we seal it shut with the iron. Oh well, 72. I'm glad I can remember what my name is. Oh, I was reading something today. There was a United Airlines gate attendant, and they had a flight cancellation, and so she had to rebook everybody. There's something like 100 people in this line that she was trying to rebook, and this guy came up belligerent and slammed his fist down on the counter and said, "You need to rebook me now on a first-class flight." And she said, "Okay, sir, if you'll just step in line, I'll get to you." And he says, "Do you know who I am?" And she looked at him and she picked up the microphone for the terminal. And she said, "Attention, gate 12 in terminal 3 has a person who does not know his identity. So if anybody can come here and help me identify him, I would greatly appreciate it." And the guy looked at her and kind of said, "F you." And she said, "Well, I think you'll have to stand in line for that comment as well, because there's about 100 people who want to say the same thing." So it was a pretty funny story. I just thought that the lady at the counter handled that extremely well, considering everything that's going on. Okay, yeah, unfortunately. We use Swiss cheese whenever possible. There, Sumi. The way it was made when we ate it in Bavaria is they use what they call Bauernkäse or farmer's cheese. So the closest thing to a Bauernkäse is going to be something like a Swiss cheese or a Havarti. Either one of those two is going to be a really good cheese to use with that. But if we don't have Swiss cheese in a post-apocalyptic world, I would say that a combination of Parmesan and mozzarella, if you can get those freeze-dried, would probably be a combination of those two would probably come up with the same basic taste as a Havarti or a Swiss blend. Yes, anytime you eat a fermented vegetable, it helps immensely with increasing the body's ability to fight off lots of infections. And it's great. Yes, as a matter of fact, I believe there's, Maggie, in here, I believe there's even a project on making cheese out of freeze-dried milk or powdered milk. Wiesbaden, okay. Well, thank you, Diana, too. That's very kind of you to say that, but maybe I will. I was talking to, had a real great conversation with John Grammer on we talked for about an hour and a half, and he was talking about how he put the book together and how his editor and everything. Just, he said he had some of the greatest people ever. So, so maybe putting together a book on some stuff would be a good idea. Faxers hasn't eaten tonight, and we're making him even more hungry. Let me see. But anyhow, yeah. So Aunt Nellie's red cabbage in a jar is phenomenal. Aunt Nellie's red beets in a jar is also great. So either one of those two is good. The problem with us growing cabbage here in Central Texas is it never really, I mean, we either have freezing or boiling, and the in-between area is very slim. And when we do have the in-between area, which is basically the latter portion of March, first portion of April, that's also what causes tornadoes and hailstorms and everything else. As a matter of fact, the 3-year anniversary of the totaling of my car from the hailstorm comes up the 29th of this month. So let's see. I think, nope. It says that I can't, I'm low on power on my cell phone. I was going to show you a picture of it. Let me see. So I can tell you what the Thrive Life specials for right now are. The April Thrive Life specials. Oh. No, this is a spring bulletin for church. Let me see. There we go. Because I printed it out. This is what they send to distributors. I was surprised. Normally they don't announce it until the day of the first of the month. And they actually mentioned this like on the 30th or the 31st. And I had mentioned this in one of my previous ones. So the pulled pork is 40% off. Green chili peppers is 35% off. Fuji apples, 35% off. Sausage crumbles, which is one of the reasons I switched over to them, 35% off. Chopped spinach is 30% off. Mashed potatoes, 25%. Sour cream powder is 25%. Instant brown rice, 25%. Vegetable pasta primavera. Now, these next three are going to be meals. So basically, it'll serve a family of four, just add water, one pot meal. Vegetable pasta primavera, 35%. Chicken spinach Alfredo, 35%. Creamy mashed potato bowl is 25%. And then instant milk for the month of April is 50% off. So those are the April specials for Thrive Life. And then that's Lee's Prep, LEESPREP.thrivelife.com. I've been a distributor with Thrive Life since they were called Shelf Reliance. And I think I joined in 2009. So that kind of gives you an idea of how much I've got Thrive Life accumulated. Most of them have a very long shelf life, 20, 25 years. Oh, Holly, that sounds so fantastic. Tuna salad sub, that's a great thing too. We had tuna salad Friday because it was the last day, one of the last days of Lent. And So we had tuna. So Helen fixed a fantastic tuna salad sandwich. And then I think I showed the leftover tuna can because we wash it out. We use the side opening top, and then we wash it out. And then I fill that with cardboard and paraffin and turn it into a Boy Scout cook stove. There we go. I always cannot wait for fruit season to kick in. Although we got some really good strawberries at Costco the other day, and so we're about halfway through that tub. And then I got the little cakes and some cream. And so today I had a double batch of strawberry shortcakes and then the vanilla ice cream afterwards as a dessert from having the strawberry shortcakes for lunch. Okay, Muskoka Oma, and I pray for your safety during the storm. Please stay safe, and looking forward to seeing you again shortly. I am just about out of dehydrated fruit from last year's harvest and have maybe 6 jars of homemade jelly left. I'm ready to start picking some fruit. Yes, we don't have any homemade jelly here. Mine is mostly store-bought, but that is, you bring up a very good point. That is another one of those that's going to store for a very long time. And the pectin in it, don't forget, is also, they found out at Chernobyl that pectin was another one of those things that assists the body in fighting off the nuclear radiation sickness. So, having the pectin from jams and jellies and things like that, I think is also going to be important to us as we go along in the future. So I'm gearing up for veggie freeze dry soon. My veggies are growing. My potatoes are doing really well, and I've got flowers on my tomatoes. So both of those are doing well. I've got to get my onions in the ground before it starts getting too hot. I also want to get some shade netting. Maggie and I were talking, Aussie Life and I were talking, oh gosh, maybe a month or two ago, and she turned me on to the fact that I probably need to shelter some of my plants by getting some shade netting and covering them from this hot Texas sun. So I'm going to be going out and looking for that and getting that taken care of as well. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Yes, I love sauerbraten. We have up north, there's a little town called Wahlberg, although the Texans pronounce it Wahlberg. And but they have 2 authentic German restaurants. That's all the town is two German restaurants. They have the Wahlberg Mercantile, and they have fantastic sauerbraten. They have Wiener Schnitzel. They have with Jaeger sauce. They have Spätzle. They have everything. Rotkohl, sauerkraut, warm Kartoffelsalat or potato salad. Then they have Gurkensalat, which is basically cucumber salad. So they have all the owner of the store, of the restaurant's actually from Munich. He owned a restaurant in Munich and he moved here. All kinds of imported German beers, he imported special ovens so that they do their pastries and bakery of bread daily like they do in Germany. When McDonald's opened in Germany, they had to sign an agreement with the German government that the Germans are so proud of their bread products that each McDonald's store has to bake their own buns daily. They can't have them shipped in, freezed or frozen or anything else. They have to be baked at the store daily. So I think that's really, really neat. I'm starting to wheeze. Just one second. Yes, great. Thank you. So from what I understand, there are very few, where is it here? I clicked on the wrong one. There are very few that go hazardous to your health after its expiration date. There are a couple antibiotics that go poisonous after a certain period of time. Oh gosh, I just saw F. Pierce's other comment, and I got to get back to that. So most things will store over time. They just lose their potency over time. So you don't know how potent they are. And what they're afraid of is because they lose their potency, that you might have a tendency to take two or more in lieu of one. And there's a possibility that you would overdose. And that's what the fear is there. So F. Pierre, let me go back up here a couple more. And F. Pierre says, have I ever tried Glühwein? Glühwein is the bomb. So for those of you who don't know, Germany is actually the home of great white wines. Someday I'll do a class on how to read the German wine label. You know exactly what a German bottle of wine is going to taste like by reading the label. There are certain sugar, alcohol contents that have to be measured and noted on the bottle, whether it's a Cabernet wine, a Auslese, a Spätlese, Trockenbeeren Auslese. There are all these different names, and they have specific meanings as to the sweetness. Then they have to tell where it was grown, what the grape is, who the winery is. I mean, there's certain things that have to be on those bottles. What they are not that well known for are their red grapes, and those are primarily grown in France, although there are some red grapes that they do grow in Germany. And those grapes, they typically set aside for the winter season, and they will warm that and mix it with some spices. And so you have this big kettle of red wine, warm red wine with spices in it. And then you take a ladle of that and put it into a mug instead of in a wine glass, and you drink that to warm you up. And that's Glühwein. So yeah, it's very good. I've got to find some spices to make Glühwein once that happens. So Holly says that she had to keep scraping the mold off. Yep. So Maggie's talking about microgreens, and I ordered that kit you recommended, Maggie, and it did arrive. Hello, Coach Lamont. Welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for showing up. That's what I was thinking of. Thank you, Cats and Prepping. Gosh, see what I mean? You guys do such a good job of adding value to the store, to the show, because when I forget stuff, you add to it. And so I was talking earlier about, I think it's Hoosier Hill Farms. You can get it originally in the plastic jar, then order the replacements in the Mylar bags, and then you can open that's going to have a longer shelf life. Then you open the Mylar bag and put it into the jar that looks a lot like this, and that way it will keep a lot longer. And then you also have it available with a label on it, so you can open that and use it as you need it. So thank you, Sumi. Thank you, Cats and Prepping. Thank you, Little Lone Prepper. So all you guys did a great job of helping me out with that. Let me see. I'm going to try to catch up here, see what I can get, see if there's anything else. So Gil is going to have his Tactical Tuesday. Okay, Gil's talking about food storage poison, and he started already. We need to shut this down so we can get over there. And so let me see here. Mad Chick Acres, welcome. Good to see you as well. Thank you for being here. And okay, Scott Hummer, welcome. Good to see you as well. Okay, with that, I think what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and shut this down. What did I do with that link for Gray Man Prepping for Gil? Somebody put it up here, and there we go. So if you all would leave here and go there, Gil's topic tonight is food storage poison, and which is going to be a great topic, I'm sure. Now, remember that Gil used to work for Department of Homeland Security, basically for FEMA. So he was a long-term planner with the government for exactly what we're talking about this evening. So please join us over there. We'd greatly like to see you. So remember that we're all in this together, so we can come out the other side together. And I almost forgot my biblical quotation, which is going to be from the book of Exodus, chapter 6, verses 24, 25, 26. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord let his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you kindly and grant you peace. So remember that we're all in this together, so we can come out the other side together. please, and I know you all are so good at it. Everybody here tonight is just among that crowd. The important thing is to be kind, polite, and respectful with and to each other. And we're going to get through this together. Take care, everybody. Thanks for being here. Go over to this one right here, right now. Go over and talk. We'll talk on gills about long-term food storage poisoning. Take care, everybody. And thank you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you would, please. That would greatly help things. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.